Good morning, going into good afternoon, everyone. To members of the governance team of the National Transformation Alliance, newly appointed candidates, members of the media, good day. So just firstly to clarify the difference between custodian and candidate, the custodian was initially a caretaker, and you would have seen other political parties have that. Now these individuals, and what we have done is looking at due diligence, monitoring what it is they do, how they would have performed over the last few months in their capacity as a custodian. We understand that they are fully capable and qualified to serve the constituents, which is why I wish to thank you for your service to country, that you're offering your services. And we would have many others that will be coming forward in the near future. So that is the difference between the custodian and they are now candidates. I am here today both pleased and saddened. I am pleased at the fact that we have so many people willing to come forward to serve this country, which is a good sign. Dr. Kevin Saran, for example. Kevin, thank you very much for lending us your office. And this office that he has is going to be his headquarters towards competing with other political opponents from other political parties. Kevin, I will please ask you humbly to give some degree of support to your elderly. I think there's a 95-year-old candidate from another political party. I needed to make sure you help him, you support him. And there's nothing wrong with experience. But if that is the case, then Brian Lara should still be representing Trinidad West Indies. Dwight York should still be representing Trinidad and Tobago. It does not work that way. There's something called transformation. And transformation means that the time when your time has passed, which is thankfully the Honorable Prime Minister has understood that. Hopefully other people will understand that, but sometimes they believe it's a political party or a position is a cow and it belongs to you and you could only hand it over when it is you see fit. That is one of the unfortunate things. But when we look at the individuals we have here today, the individuals here are prepared to do what is required to make Trinidad and Tobago a better place. When you look at individuals such as Nicolene, I didn't say Nickelodeon. When you look at Nicolene, when it is that you have a political leader that will question the capability of the individuals in the NTA, and even the NTA itself, Nicolene went up for a seat that the UNC went up against the PNM in the local government election 2020, and that UNC candidate lost by about 1,300 votes. Nicolene took that same seat by 1,300 votes and brought it down to about 150. That is what you call leadership. That is service to country. So she took a seat and cut it down by almost 80% in the curtail that the UNC got in comparison to what she did. And you know the difference for it is because she was able to transform the persons in that area to let them understand that we can make that area a better place. And then when you look at Jazzy himself, people may not be aware that he was the individual who was a candidate for the UNC in the same local government election, and it was a tie. And he's a tie man, and he's wearing one right now for it. And that tie man, you know how things work in politics. It turned from a tie to all of a sudden a vote disappeared and a vote reappeared, and from a tie it then went back to the PNM. But it meant that he was the most powerful, the most productive person in the UNC in Arima. So if anybody is the right fit to tackle the PNM in Arima, it is Jazzy. And thank you very much, Jazzy. Similar with Gail. Gail transformed that area in Port of Spain north from in an area where it is that PNM would have won by a very large margin and cut it down to almost 70% because of her being there and having the passion and pride to understand there's a difference with leading and a difference with serving. And then, of course, as we go to Christine in the parliament in 2015 to 2020, she was arguably one of the most articulate, passionate, professional members of parliament. And again, she's willing to give her country to serve one more time. Thank you, Christine. As I speak about being saddened, I'm saddened at the fact of how our country is being divided, being destroyed. And that is the reason why we are here in the NTA. I have served my country in 3 different fields. The first was as a soldier. When I became a soldier, a very young officer, just returned from the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst in 1990, all that I was hearing from the country was demonizing the Defense Force, discrediting them, stating that all we're good for is to eat in Tetron. If you all ever see what we ate in Tetron, you wouldn't say that. It was things, you ever heard something called curry egg? That's what we had in Tetron. But they criticized us, they demonized us, they said that we were of no value. And then 1990 came. and the country saw the value and the importance of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. And I felt proud, and many young persons said, yes, now they want to be a soldier or a sailor or somebody in the Air Guard. And now 34 years later, they are now being demonized yet again. Fast forward, I then, as a commissioner of police. Prior to that, everyone despised the police service. They hated them. They said that they were the cause. They said that the police service is corrupt, they're overweight and everything. And I took 3 years to transform that same Trinidad and Tobago police service to the point that after that, the majority of young people said they wanted to be a police officer. And now a few years later, after public trust and confidence in the police service was at the highest of all arms in the public service at 59%, now it is the lowest of all arms of the public service at 8%. What is the difference? It is not the police officers, it is leadership. And now we have come to my third field, which is that of being a politician. And that word politician has been seen by so many people in this country as being corrupt, as being incompetent, as being useless. What we are doing here in the NTA is to try to transform that, try to change that word. Why can't young people be prepared to say, I want to be a politician? Because their parents are seeing what politicians have done, how they have divided the country. We have half of the 41 MPs. They could walk past this street right now, and most of you all would not even know who they are. And there's a reason for that. They are not competent, they are not qualified, they don't have the capability to lead or to serve. But because of their affiliation to a political leader, because they know how to pull a chair, they know how it is to tell him or her yes for every single thing they do, they get a safe seat. And that is how we have 41 members of parliament where, as I said, half really do not serve the country or their constituents. I do not need yes people around me. When I built myself in the military, in the police service, in a business, even as a politician, I want people that will be able to challenge me, that will be able to tell me, I think we are going in the wrong direction. When we don't do that, we continue to see the mistakes that have taken place over and over again for the last few decades in our country because people are afraid. I am sick and tired of senior people in a certain political party ringing my ears every single day stating that somebody is doing something wrong. I say, well, why don't you tell her? Oops, I just slipped. So you know who I'm talking about. And then they say, well, no, I can't do that because she will get upset and I might lose my seat. That can't be right. I am asking everyone here in the NTA, never be like that. Be prepared to stand up if you see something is wrong. I lost my position as a Minister of National Security because of that. I stood firm against wrongdoing, and I said I will not lie to the police. And because of that, that was the ultimate sin. How dare you not circle the wagons? And I'm proud to be fired. I am proud to do the right thing. And sometimes doing the right thing, there may be a sacrifice to it, but you have to remember, when it is to all of you candidates here today, you would have sworn an oath to your God when it is that you get in as a member of parliament. Remember that oath in office. You have not sworn an oath to a political leader or a party or a group or a cabal. It is to your God and to your country and to the people you are there to serve. And if we continue to operate in that manner, we would make this a better place. I will mention quickly that what the NTA here to the members of the media, we would not do. That we will not do. We would be a pop-up party. I prefer to be a pop-up party than to be an established party, to have an individual assigned as a virtual social media prostitute to say the most disgusting things about people that you are proud to say, but we are an established party and you're a pop-up party. I will never have anyone making a mockery of people with mental health. I will never have anyone ridiculing people when they are grieving over the death of a friend. I will never have anyone stating that the PNM, all of the PNM should burn, similar to what happened with their member of parliament who lost their life. I will never have anyone here refer to women in the most disgusting and vulgar manner. That is what has happened. And then you have a political leader probably going on a Monday night platform, oops, I did it again, a Monday night platform and boasting, yes, he is part of our team and he's going to work with us. Anyone who has a conscience, anyone who believes in our country, that is not the politics we want. And I condemn any act like that. And anyone who is an independent voter, an independent thinker, someone who's what they call us the knife and fork, the third constituency, we must stay away from people like that. And it's much more, it goes much more. When we even look at the soon-to-be appointed Prime Minister, there's a young lady that her face continues to be plastered on the media because of her trying to link her with that individual. And that is because she was arrested by myself. And they continue to demonize that young lady, to refer to her as the stepdaughter of the future Prime Minister. to try to go out of their way to destroy one man, you're destroying the life of another girl because she made a mistake. Well, let me clarify. That girl is my cousin. So demonize me. And I have no qualms to state that, yes, she is my family. She is a Daniel, and my mother was a Daniel. And so what? You are going to continue to condemn a young lady and criticize her and demonize her every single time because of your enjoyment and excitement and hatred for somebody else? The hatred and division and bitterness by politicians on all sides have destroyed the country. Our job in the NTA is to unite, to build, to be productive. And I ask all of you candidates, we are not going into this election campaign and this gutter politics that we must go on every platform to try to destroy the character of others. We are here to build and to show that we are different. I am proud to state that I saw 2 of those careers that we were able to build something in the Defense Force and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And what we have here, as it pertains to the biggest concern of this country, has to do with national security. But we are not a national security political party. The same principles that we use to ensure good governance from leadership, accountability, management, and measuring performance that is going to transform Trinidad and Tobago's security, we intend to do it in every other element, whether it be education, health, the economy, social development, youth, culture, sport, you name it. Because it's just principles that are required and proper leadership. Now, the other political parties would never want to debate with us. They won't. Because we have the people, the policies, the plans, and the political will to show that we are better to serve. And I'll give you a simple example. When you look at the individuals in the NTA, it is not just about a political leader who was a national security advisor, a commissioner of police, a minister of national security, but I have a team. This is not Team Gary Griffith, this is Team Trinidad and Tobago. And that team includes a person who was a very senior commander in the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. He had hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment he was responsible for in Commander Norman Dindial. If it's anyone who has the ability to provide a proper security system for a maritime security wall to secure our borders, it is him. We have one of the most experienced and qualified and well-respected previous members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force in the Air Guard, in Mark Jardine. And he will be able to assist us to know exactly how it is we need to provide proper air surveillance to assist in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. We have arguably the most qualified firearm expert in the country in Paul Nahus. That cannot be questioned. We have one of the most competent majors that ever came out from the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force involved in technology and security in Major Dirk Barnes. The list is long and distinguished. It includes generals, it includes colonels, it includes previous deputy commissioners who are in the background providing us with a template to transform national security in Trinidad and Tobago. I challenge any other political party to match that. They can't. What they have to build on and hope for is to have their base and hold on to their base to say, just vote for us. So when you hear a political party say that we could make you safe again, vote for us instead of the PNM, I ask them, I challenge them, in your 5 years when you were in government, name one thing that you would have achieved other than what was given to you on a platter by your national security advisor and your Minister of National Security. And again, I could go along from the formation of the Ministry of Justice. That was Gary Griffith that she boasts about. I was the one who drafted it, and they do not know how to implement it. That is why for 5 years the Ministry of Justice failed. We will know how to implement that Ministry of Justice to improve our criminal justice system because it was drafted by myself. The Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Home Affairs, I drafted it, and she does not know how to implement it, but she keeps boasting about it on her platform. The $1,000 that every member of the protective services presently receive. It is through Gary Griffith. When I understood that we were moving sort, I looked at the 20 million order month, be able to break it down and to show that we can give $1,000 to every single soldier, sailor, police officer, customs officer, immigration officer, fire officer, prison officer, at the same cost that was costing us to upgrade, to keep 150 retirees from United Kingdom under SORT. And the things that we would have achieved as under the People's Partnership would have been in 2013 to 2015, the highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years, the formation of the Rapid Response Unit, the Community Comfort Patrol, the 12 Diamond vessels at a cost of $1.2 billion less than the OPVs, the National Operations Center, a security arrangement with Venezuela and Colombia that put an end once and for all from the La Guardia Nacional attacking our own fishermen. We can look at the E999 being revamped, the National Security Special Operation Group, the Highway Patrol Unit, the Military Training Academy, The Energy Sector Security Initiative, which had that remained, that could have played a very big part in assisting in the Paria disaster. That ESSI was a system providing a coordination between different arms of the protective services and the energy sector to ensure an immediate response in case of any natural or man-made disaster. That was shut down after we left office. The formation and the formal establishment of the Transnational Organized Crime Unit, the Child Protection Unit, us being upgraded from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2 in human trafficking, and the list goes on. So when people try to claim that they have the ability, they have the technology, they don't. They don't have the people, they don't have the capability. We have it. And the same thing I just mentioned as it pertains to national security. What we are here today is to show to the media just one of over 100 policies that we intend to implement to transform security in Trinidad and Tobago. So all the things that would have been achieved by myself as a security minister and a commissioner of police with all of the fanfare, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because the research that we have done over the last few months, analyzing the situation, SWOT analysis, looking and seeing exactly what is required and how to utilize our national security resources in an effective and efficient manner, it is going to make Trinidad and Tobago the safest it has ever been since 1999 when we had this... In 1999, when we had, arguably, I always say, the best Minister of National Security the country has ever seen. No, not me, Brigadier General Joseph Theodore. So what you're going to see now is one element of over 100. This is known as WOLF, the Weaponized Operation Land Force. That Weaponized Operation Land Force is going to be a unit comprising 1,000 of the most trained, qualified, polygraphed persons that is going to transform security in Trinidad and Tobago. It is going to be a combination of what Patrick Manning did with the Special Anti-Crime Unit. Patrick Manning had a vision. He understood. He just didn't know how to implement it. I piggybacked from it by using SWOT. So I kind of cheated by using a similar name, the Special Operation Response Team. SWOT had 100. You imagine if we have 10 times SWOT, what it can do to peg back criminal elements, to send back gangs. No block, no neighborhood, no area belongs to any criminal element. This unit is going to make sure that they will have a proper intelligence-led operation without any fear of compromise by the rogue elements in all the other arms of the protective services. We got about 20,000, so it is difficult to keep up secure intelligence and operation, but by having a specific unit, highly trained, this is going to put fear into criminals. It is going to be properly monitored. It is going to ensure there will be no victimization, no abuse of authority, but it would make Trinidad and Tobago safe again.
Our nation is going through its darkest hour. We are a country under siege. The criminal elements have taken control. Murder, rape, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, home invasion. When would it stop? When would it end? Is there a cure? Is there some way that we can try to bring this back? Trinidad and Tobago, it is coming. Never seen before. The most powerful, highly trained and sophisticated unit to be a mass that is going to transform security in Trinidad and Tobago. We would make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. So stand by. We are going to release the wolf.
Release the wolves! I'm coming for them all. Release the wolves! They're ready, standing tall.
The Weaponized Operational Land Forces, WOLF, will be immediately established after the next general elections by Gary Griffith and the NTA. Building on the success of SWOT, which had 100 personnel, WOLF would see 10 times that amount, where 1,000 of the best trained and polygraphed personnel from all arms of the protective services are engaged to take our country back from the criminals so that every law-abiding citizen can have the safety and security they deserve.
So let me, when I was in 2002, I worked closely then with looking at New York model, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. I brought in Mayor Rudy Giuliani to Trinidad and Tobago before his bacchanal and all of that. And what they did, they transformed New York City. And they transformed New York City by trying to see if they could reduce crime. And then after 2 years, there were so many things they did, but the citizens did not feel safe. And that's what I understood, that the perception and fear of crime is just as important as crime itself. So when it says you started hearing Martin Joseph and others about a decrease in the increase in crime and all this nonsense, it doesn't work. My first 18 months as Commissioner of Police, it took me 18 months to transform the police service. There was not the use of technology, systems, training, equipment, public relations, public trust and confidence, and it took me 18 months. But in that first year, obviously the murder rate will still have continued to go up, and then after that it went all the way down. But in that first year, public trust and confidence in the Commissioner of Police was 79% and the police 59%. Crime was the number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy, even though they still had a high crime rate. What it meant is that citizens started feeling safe. They started feeling something that is going on. So when it says you speak about a decrease in the increase in crime and all of that nonsense, if one citizen in this country says they feel safer because of the SOE, that is not true. Are you seeing greater police presence? Are you feeling comfortable to know that if you call 999, you will get an immediate response? Do you believe that the police service is not corrupt? Or do you believe that there will be proper patrols anywhere you go? Do you believe that if you go to a carnival fete and you get back to your car, you'll feel safe? That is what is important. So I think the poor minister, the honorable guy that he has totally missed the point. This is not about trying to look at data. And even with the data, we're looking at still over 1 murder a day. And this SOE has just commenced. I did state that the SOE is a plaster and a sore. If it is you really want to fix it, we could have intensified our national security resources. We have 5,000 members of the Defense Force, 5,000. And probably just a few hundred are still outside assisting in the SOE. When I was commissioner, not one came to give us assistance during the curfew, the COVID period. And it shows ignorance and not understanding how to utilize your security resources. You have that 5,000 come out. They are trained as an aid to civil power. You don't need a state of emergency to bring them out. But right now, they're still not being utilized. What the country wants to see is what it is that would have been achieved in, say, the last carnival and I was commissioner, where every single corner you had 2 police officers. I piggyback from what was done in Notting Hill Carnival and Brooklyn Carnival. People want to see that they go to any carnival fete, it's littered with police officers everywhere they go to get to their car in an event. People want to feel safe. They want to go on Arpita Avenue and complain that every 3 minutes you're seeing a blue light. That is what is going to put fear in the criminals. It will provide a deterrent. It reduces the product of opportunity. So unfortunately, I think the minister is not understanding how it is that a country is supposed to be secured.
Mr. Griffith, correct me if I'm wrong. The intention for candidates ahead of the general election is how much so for the NTA?
Well, hopefully 41. There are 41 constituencies. We are taking it bit by bit, stride by stride, and we are very carefully analyzing the individuals who we believe have the ethics and the capability to represent our country in an effective manner. We are not going to have persons who will be attorneys that will be secured, that will be trying to release gang members out of prison constantly and then make them candidates. We are not going to have persons who would have given state contracts to gang members to build police stations. We are not going to have any persons who may believe that they will want to have a repeat of life sport. We are not going to have individuals who may have very emotional and close affiliation and connectivity with gang members. So we are being very careful in our selection process. This is not about winning for an election. This is about making sure we have the right people to assist in governing and serving Trinidad and Tobago.
The idea of Wolf looks great, given the state of the country. How would the NTA be implementing something like that based on how many seats? How exactly? Is it that if they don't do well at the elections, they partner with the winning party? Give me an idea as to how Wolf would work, or is it just an idea once the NTA, or if the NTA goes into power in a large-scale sense?
Yeah, well, I don't want to cry wolf, but this is all about making. If it is we have 41 candidates, we are not here going into an election wondering, well, maybe we should join with this one and work with this one. A political leader has already stated she does not want to work with us, and she has reason to believe so, and good reason, because she knows Gary Griffith is not going to allow another live sport. Gary Griffith is not going to allow persons who are very closely affiliated to your party to give state contracts to gang members. You know why he felt as a Minister of National Security walking in a police station that we are now about to open with my Prime Minister, and I see the biggest gang leader in the country behind me, and I tell Special Branch, we're looking for him, take him. So we can't. Why? Because he built the police station. That is madness. And that is, and if you Chuck Mal calling him too, of who it is. But you all will know, right? Look at see who it is built the Piccadilly Street police station and who is the person who gave him that contract. That is why Miss Lady has a problem with Gary Griffith. I am not going to have any type of exchange to give the criminal elements the opportunity. That is what has caused the destruction of this country. After the Basdio Pandey administration in 2001 go down, we started having the perception that by turning criminal elements and call them community leaders, we give them state contracts. When you give them state contracts, they utilize their profits to buy more guns, more sophisticated artillery, hire more gang members, put hits on other gang members, use their profit to buy out and pay out rogue elements in the police service and the judiciary. And by doing that, it escalates crime. Government after government, they have done this. I have fought it down as a minister and as a commissioner. If as a prime minister, I intend to do the same. We are not going to negotiate with criminal elements. And if another political party has a problem with that, you will never see the corridors of government because I will ensure it does not happen.
Mr. Griffith, you've spoken about certain political parties. Can you give us an update as to what's happening with the COP now that they have a new political leader and Hope? Any feedback about that?
Well, again, I always say I want to drink my water and mind my business. The Congress of the People, they have their issues. We have signed an MOU with the Congress of the People. We have also been working with Hope towards a proper an alliance of bodies. If we have the same vision, the same principles, the same ideologies, we will work together. We are just being very cautious because I was aware that a political leader was meeting with someone else for weeks before that person was recently appointed as a newly a political leader of another party. And you see that marriage of convenience. My job is to ensure that those 150,000 floating voters are never going to be used again. It happened in 2010 to 2015, and therein lies the problem. You want to use the parties, bring them in, say they're working with us, to get the floating voters to vote for your candidates in the marginal seats to have a 21-seat UNC government, and then spit us out, and then we'll have no participation, no involvement. That can't happen. That is why I was fired as a minister, because I was in the upper house, and I stood firm to say I am not going to lie if the police ask me for information that I could assist them in their investigation. And if anyone could fire an individual for that, how could you expect to be back in government? How could anyone expect to vote for a political party that is stating, if you decide to speak the truth, I'm going to bust your truth? That is mad people behavior.
All right, Mr. Griffith, so you said you'll be minding your business on that same question. Do you intend to reach out to that new leader and see and find out for certain, will they honor that MOU?
Well, it is up to him. If he decides not to, it will expose a lot. It will, because the COP has already signed, it has been signed, sealed, and delivered that there's an MOU between the COP and the NTA and Hope and other parties. If he immediately pulls out of that, it will totally reveal to every single citizen in the country that the COP yet again is trying to be used by other parties. I was concerned, and there's nothing to hide, is that his very first statement when he got back into politics was to praise Kamala Persad-Bissessar. You are in charge, you are trying to be in charge of a political party, and the first thing you do is to praise somebody else in another political party. So the jury is still out. We will see if a certain political leader is going to get a safe seat of St. Augustine or Chaguanas West. Stand by, you got it here from Gary Griffith. And then by doing that, you'll say, well, look, the COP is with us, so we don't need anyone else. The floating voters, they are very sensitive lot. They are very intelligent. They will know sense from nonsense. And I give you the assurance, they fooled us once. We will not be fooled again.
Now, I might have lost track, but I know these are the custodians that would have been fielded now to be candidates for the election. How many have you all confirmed in positions for out of that 41 that you all want to contest?
Jeez, I think it's about 8 or 9. We have myself for St. Joseph. I am going up for St. Joseph against a very honorable candidate for the UNC, Mr. Devonish Maraj. And I will ask you all, right now, I could open it, if anybody ever heard one word from Mr. Maraj in your life, I will resign immediately. The man doesn't speak. He can't talk. But you're bringing someone to lead where he has not been able to say one word. He's an attorney and nobody has ever heard him. So therein that is UNC's business. I will do what I have to do. What Also in Shogunas, Commander Norman Dindial is a candidate. We have East, Shogunas East, he's right there behind, in the Berry. Yeah, so that'll be 7. So that they were then Dr. Kevin Saran for San Fernando West, and the 4 that have now been recently appointed as candidates. And then we have about 6 others who are custodians, and in the very near future we're going to have our first political meeting in early February in St. Joseph, where candidates would be announced for other areas, and then we'll have one in Diego Martin, where we're 3 Diego Martin candidates, and another Port of Spain candidate will also be announced. So we're off and running. One of the main things we are going for is the marginal seats. We are going for the marginal seats, and the marginal seats dictate who will win the election. So the end result is that what we do is going to decide the result of the general election. It always happens. So when people say, well, you all can't win, well, hear what? In 1981, what the UNR did caused the result to happen as it did for the PNM. In 1991, what the NAR did when they split with the UNC, of which Kamala Prasad Bissessa was a part of, I think she lost her deposit, but they said she is invincible. And she went up for the NAR, and then in 2007 with the COP with 148,000 votes. So that bridge constituency continues to build from 91,000 to 127,000 to 148,000. Because younger persons are now telling their parents, Mommy and Daddy, this might be a PNM or UNC home, but you can't tell me who to vote for. In fact, young people are educating their parents that this nonsense about blind loyalty of a this or that till you die doesn't help me, it doesn't make me safer, it doesn't put food on my table. So that is why you're seeing that bridge constituency getting bigger. And what we do will decide. You'd have seen it in 1986 with the NAR, when the ONR joined with the ULF. You'd have seen what happened in 2010 with the COP when they joined with the UNC. What we do is going to dictate the outcome of the general election.
Okay, right now. All right, so right now the Parliament should be sitting today. I believe it is to extend the SOE for possibly another 3 months. Your thoughts on this as somebody who has your very thought-out plans for national security?
Well, it has already happened. As I said, I would not have done it had I been Minister of National Security, Prime Minister, or Commissioner of Police. I would not have recommended it, because the exact thing that is being done now could have been achieved without the SOE. Because you can intensify your patrols, you can lift your national alert state, you can bring in the use of the defense force. The only thing that it is doing that you can't do in an SOE is to give soldiers powers of arrest, which is not required. You don't need to give them powers of arrest, because they could complement the police officers, so the police will do the arresting. And then allowing persons the opportunity to break into homes without a warrant or to arrest persons indefinitely. The only reason you do that is because you do not have enough intelligence to turn into evidence. So what you're doing is holding the individuals. And what I do not want is a repeat of 2011, when, again, even though I gave advice as the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister, I was now about to go on Space Mountain on my ride when she called and said, I want to have a SOE. And I said, PM, it is not feasible, it is not practical, it is not a crime-fighting tool. She insisted, and end result is 500 persons were illegally and unlawfully arrested, and we, each and every one of us who pay taxes, Kevin, you paying taxes? All right, everybody that pays taxes, they had to pay. And the same thing could very well happen here. Why are you arresting the 136 now that you couldn't do before the SOE? You're arresting them now because you don't have enough evidence. If you don't have enough evidence, these same individuals will go to the attorneys, and the attorneys will sue the state. They have put a clause 6 to give you a get-out-of-jail-free card, but it will still allow the attorneys the opportunity to write to the president. And this is going to be challenged in court. Telling someone I could arrest you indefinitely, kick down your door, destroy your furniture, and state, well, it was a SOE, so you can't sue the state. That is going to be challenged in court. I think that it was not required. Having said that, the decision has already been made. If the decision has already been made, what we need to do is to circle the wagons, rally around the state, give immense support to the law enforcement agencies, find avenues and opportunities to give information for them so they will not have cold hits, and provide the resources, the tools, the support, and the prayers to each and every member of our protective services. That is what is required. As Commissioner of Police, thankfully, for 3 years, not one police officer lost his life in the line of duty. Now they're taking them as target practice because the fear is no longer there. We need to put fear back in the criminals. If the SOE could provide an avenue for us to take back our country and provide that as a foundation and a platform, so be it.
As far as I'm aware, the last story I think I read, you were commenting about Mr. Stuart Young, and that he would not have been chosen as the Prime Minister. Just your thoughts now that we have seen what has happened over the weekend. Just your thoughts on it, please.
Well, 24 hours is such a long day in politics. He has been selected. I have worked with the future Prime Minister, Stuart Young, and probably which is why I doubt I could ever be a good politician, because I'll always be honest. I'll always be a patriot to my country than a politician. When I worked with Minister Stuart Young in my capacity as the Commissioner of Police, I think the country would have seen we made a very good team. We were able to handle COVID, we were able to handle security, and he provided me with the support, the leadership, organizing meetings. So I have seen him work in his capacity as a leader, and it is difficult for me to criticize him on it. Unfortunately, what we do in this country, we don't look at the quality of the person in how they perform. We will try to call names, discredit the individual, look to see whose family would be arrested, and all the nastiness in politics. I ask what we need to do is to judge individuals based on their performance and not based on all of the nastiness that you want. This calling this one small pin and looking at I mean, oh God, it's sickening. It is childish. It is immature. This is not a banana republic. If it is that I still believe that the NTA, we are the best political party to govern this country. Having said that, I wish Mr. Stuart Young well as the future Prime Minister. I give him the assurance that the NTA, we are not here to make the country ungovernable. We are here to provide support for the state, not the PNM, for the state. That is our job as patriots of this country. And we will continue to give him that support until he decides after the election to relinquish his position to the NTA after we replace them.
As we've heard you say with the UNC, in that sense of critiquing, we're not hearing that with Stuart Young. So I was just wondering, with a Stuart Young-led PNM government, is a NTA alliance with the PNM in that sense a possibility?
No, never. Okay, let me be clear. This is not about us trying to work with anyone. Unless political parties have the same, let me say it again, vision, ideologies, we intend to go our way. And again, other political parties have already said it. They have no intention to work with the NT. Only one political party has said that so far. That is the UNC. She has made it clear. Even though every single member of parliament, financiers, businessman has said and told her and me that you cannot win alone. So if she wants to go into 15 years in opposition, so be it. She's the one person that has stated that she's not willing to work at all with the NTA. No other political party has stated that. So we will always keep our doors open to have dialogue with everyone. But our job is not to go cap in hand, trying to hope and beg that people can recognize us. The point, as I have stated, is that what we do will dictate the outcome of the election. So you would have seen it. I would have stated what the PNM shortcomings on many occasions, and I will continue to do so. What I would not accept is the fact that persons are selecting candidates that have been instrumental in being someone who will assist criminal elements to be released from prison, someone who will say the most disgusting things about persons, about mental health, about women, about other political parties that people should burn. And you have no shame to say that you are proud to work with people like that. The NT will rather lose an election and stand on principle than to win an election and to bring people like that into our government. No, the NTA has no intention. You see, as I said, let me say it one more time. Because I can only state no to what another political party has said. The only political party that has rejected any alliance with the NTA is Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Nobody has.
You have worked well with Mr. Young. Is that a possibility?
I think not, and the reason being is that the PNM has always insisted that they go alone. So let us take that out the window. The PNM has always been one to go alone. So this is not the NTA in any form or fashion having any intention to say that we intend or would like to work with the PNM. It is not on the table. The PNM is a very powerful party, very respected, and likewise with the UNC. The PNM have won on their own on all occasions. The UNC has never won an election on their own in 36 years in a three-horse race. Understand that. 36 years they've been in existence. They have never won an election on their own in a three-horse race. The only time they've ever won on their own was when Basdio Pandey in 2001 was able to win because there was no COP, there was no ONR, there was no NAR, there was no NTA. So it was a two-horse race. And what Basdio Pandey was able to do was to embrace those bridge constituency people. He brought in the Carlos John, the Jerry Yetming, the Moving Assam, the Gillettes, the Kwaitongs, and he brought in that 150,000. You ain't seeing that in UNC now. So if it is you couldn't do it for 10 years and it is worse, and now there's a third party, so I'll re-emphasize, the UNC has never won an election on its own in a three-horse race in their 36 years in existence.
Many would say that the NTA can't do it as well on their own.
Well, we intend to. The Congress of the People, I think my best time, other than this, with this esteemed crew, was when I was in the Congress of the People. We got 148,000 votes. We didn't win a seat, but there was a degree of pride, a degree of purpose, a degree of integrity, and we felt good. It didn't feel good losing, but we felt good going through the campaign knowing that, listen, looking at those 41 candidates, each and every one of them had a degree of respect throughout the country. When you look at the individuals there, they had Jerry Yetming, Roy Augustus, Nicole Dyer Griffith, Joe Perez, so many people that were in that team that you look and say that was a powerful group, and Lorraine Pouchette as well. And then all of a sudden now, then as soon as we merged with the UNC, all of a sudden the water started becoming muddied. And what caused it? The UNC got 21 seats. People sold out, and once UNC got 21 seats, we call it a coalition government. There was never a coalition government in 2010. That is not a coalition government. A coalition government is one when you cannot get the majority in parliament, so you have to combine the votes from different political parties to get the majority. That is what happened in 1995 with the 17-17-2. Pandey formed a coalition government with A.N.R. Robinson. In 2010, UNC got 21 seats, the COP got 6, and TOP got 2. The UNC already realized we have 21, we don't need you. So that wasn't a coalition government, that was a 21-seat UNC government supported by the COP. Thank you. So as I close, again, I give the assurance to this country that the NTA will not compromise our principles. We will stand firm on doing what is right. At no time would we ever want to be an established party. I prefer for us to be a newly established pop-up party that will not allow a repeat of live sport, that will ensure that no gang leader will get state contracts to build police stations, that no member of parliament would be closely affiliated with gangs, where there's even someone involved in politics who, there's a song by Trinidad Killer, just listen to the name of the song, and she has taken that song literally. Or attorneys who get gangs out of prison. I remember when I was Minister of National Security, there was an attorney who was going out of his way to be the attorney for all of the gang leaders. And whilst I, as the Minister of National Security, would be doing everything to help the police to get them behind bars, he immediately will get them released. And then when I look in Parliament, in the upper house, he's next to me as a temporary senator. And these people are now becoming candidates. We have to be mad. And people will say, well, listen, it is the right for an attorney to defend someone. That is fine. But this is similar to someone working in an abattoir in the night, and in the day he's going to work in the zoo, protecting animals. It doesn't work that way. You can't be half pregnant. You can't be stating that I am so much in love with my job that I am finding every single major criminal element to defend and to get released. But now I want to come up as a candidate to provide your safety and security. How dare you? How dare you disrespect the intelligence of citizens of this country? I am standing firm on principle. And I ask each and every one of you all as candidates today, we stand firm. If we do anything wrong, it must be exposed. We are not here to do the wrong thing. We are here to make Trinidad and Tobago a better place. To the media, I thank you.
Yeah, baby, you know.